Another example of how horrible TYT's politics have become, and in particular, this is Anna Kasparian talking shit about homeless people, saying how they, commit crimes, and there's all these open air drug markets where, these homeless encampments are. But she didn't always have that tune, as we'll show some receipts that will demonstrate that. This is from Primo Radical. While TYT investor Jeffrey Katzenberg was lobbying the LA City Council to pass an anti-camping ordinance targeting LA's homeless, which unfortunately did end up passing, so Los Angeles basically criminalized being homeless, Anna Kasparian is ranting against homeless camps for creating crime and open-air drug markets. So again, Jeffrey Katzenberg donated or invested millions of dollars into TYT, but Jank and Anna will say, well, this hasn't affected our politics at all. Like, this would be actually a bad investment if we got this money and we changed, because people would see that. I mean, Jesus Christ. So let's take a look to what TYT and Anna Kasparian in particular think about homelessness, homeless people, homeless encampments after getting this money from Katzenberg. Again, he's worth almost $1 billion and was working behind the scenes to support what she's talking about. So what changed? Either they're now not allowed to criticize, things that their donors support, or they just parroting what Katzenberg thinks about this issue, which again shows that they have no journalistic integrity whatsoever, because again, they're not journalists.
I do think that there are progressives, I don't know if it's progressive policy, but progressives in places like California who have made terrible decisions. And so one of those terrible decisions...
The thing here, you can't see it, it says crime is on a spike and it's not just a big city problem, just for reference.
Is essentially doing away with anti-camping laws, right? Allowing people to camp out wherever they want, whenever they want. And if, we have a homeless problem in California. We have it all throughout the country, but it's particularly bad in California. And so the argument is, well, if there isn't...
Maybe take some of that money your big donor, Jeffrey Katzenberg has. Let's expropriate some of his $900 million. Maybe, I don't know, leave him with a couple, and then give all those homeless people that, you don't want to see on the street some fucking houses. I mean, Jesus Christ.
Public housing available for people, they should be allowed to camp out. Okay, but there's also a problem right now where there is public housing available and individuals will say, no, I don't want to take it. I don't want to follow the rules in the public housing. And so
she wants to criminalize homelessness, just like Jeffrey Katzenberg, huge donor to TYT. What was it? $25 million. It was Katzenberg, or group he was part of, that invested in TYT, and look how it's affected their take on this issue.
The result, I would rather camp out. Progressive lawmakers are like, we should allow them to camp out. And you know what happens? Crime happens. Open air drug...
What is she even talking about? She just fucking pulling stuff out of the air, like how they were, spearing Aaron Mate. Seems very similar.
It's happened, and it's the truth. These are the facts of the matter. In fact, it was addressed in this Daily Beast article, and honestly, it was cathartic to read it, because
it was cathartic for her to read about them bashing on homeless people and thinking they're, all the crime is from the homeless population and all the drugs are running. That was cathartic for Anna Kasparian.
One denies that this...
I mean, Jesus Christ. Again, why would anybody, unless to critique and make fun of, be consuming TYT's content at this point? I mean, can't be bothered to stand up for Julian Assange, completely bought into that Russiagate bullshit, smearing, real anti-imperialist journalists like Aaron Mate. And then now they're jumping on board of criminalizing homelessness. And again, she didn't always have this perspective. This is from Primo Radical's video, TYT echoes Katzenberg on anti-capping law. Let's hear. She was talking about in reference to Las Vegas, or similar ordinance that was passed there that now just passed in Los Angeles that she's now supportive. Wasn't then. What happened? I wonder if that infusion of $25 million or so by Katzenberg and those investors played a part. Of course it fucking did. You'd have to be... how naive would you have to be to believe that this corporate money was not going to have a corporate influence on TYT? I mean, come on.
A giant problem in many big cities throughout the country, and the city council in Las Vegas has decided to approach this in the worst possible way. They are essentially citing homeless individuals who sleep on the streets. The Las Vegas City Council is slated to vote on an ordinance that would make it illegal to camp or sleep on the streets in parts of the city. Drafted in September, the ordinance would make it a misdemeanor to rest, sleep, or lodge in Las Vegas's downtown district and other residential areas if shelter beds are available. Now, here's part of the problem. Most of the time, there aren't enough, actually all the time, there aren't enough shelter beds available.
Well, and these fucking shelters can be really fucking shitty, especially during a pandemic. And if there are all these burdensome rules and regulations, yeah, of course some people are going to want to stay out on the street than have to follow these fucking draconian rules. I mean, Jesus Christ. Still fucking people after all. Just because they're homeless doesn't mean they don't get a say in their lives and how they're run.
For homeless people to find...
She's not saying that now, is she?
Any, refuge in. So the violation could cost individuals as much as $1,000. And if they don't pay that citation, they could end up in jail for up to 6 months. Now, if that happens, clearly they would have something on their record, which would make it even more difficult for them to find work in the future. So it will take a problem and make it an even bigger problem.
Still not compelling enough for you? Well, that's okay. I have a third video. This is from February 20th.
This was, again, before TYT got all those millions of dollars in corporate money. She was against it then. She's now support of criminalizing homelessness and demonizing the homeless people as, this population that's committing all the crime, and they're operating these open-air drug markets. But, if you ask Jank or Anna, that $25 million or so corporate investment didn't make any difference in their politics or their coverage.
16. This is TYT covering Justin Keller writing a letter to the mayor of San Francisco to do exactly what Jeffrey Katzenberg was lobbying the Los Angeles City Council to do.
A wealthy man in Silicon Valley is calling out homeless people because he's tired of having to look at them. And now he's getting a lot of criticism for it on the internet.
Which is exactly what, their corporate master, Jeffrey Katzenberg, did in Los Angeles by lobbying significant number of LA's city council members. And as, probably as a result, at least a small part, this ordinance got passed and that criminalized being homeless in Los Angeles. So again, 2 examples Primo showed us. Anna Kasparian being on the right side of this issue, and now all of a sudden she's not. What changed? They got that big fucking infusion of corporate cash.
Keller, the founder of Commando.io, is the person who wrote an open letter to the mayor of San Francisco. And he argued that the real problem was the effect the homeless have on the people around them who had, quote, earned the...
Which is basically what she's saying, that exact same thing right now. Like, there's the crime, they're doing drugs, I don't want to look at them. I mean...
to live in San Francisco.
And then I thought, okay, the whole earned it stuff, he shouldn't have gone there. I do declare I've earned it.
Because it makes the assumption that everyone who's homeless in San Francisco is lazy and they're bums. And
they earned that.
They earned that, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. Especially when you go to San Francisco, you can see it. It's right in front of you. A lot of them have mental health issues. A lot of them have addiction issues. And so to act...
What happened to her empathy for homeless people? Seems like it went completely out the door once TYT got that corporate cash from Katzenberg, or that Katzenberg linked group. And what has Katzenberg been doing? This is in reference to Katzenberg. He wanted to be helpful on homelessness, and then it quickly turned to tense down, said one elected official who met with Katzenberg and asked to remain anonymous in order to speak candidly about a private conversation. Katzenberg has met or spoken with at least 6 of the council's 15 members and is planning to sit down with Councilman Bob Blumenfield. And as a result, the LA City Council voted to criminalize homelessness, and then we now have TYT parroting what, their corporate backers support. What changed? Did she just all of a sudden, oh yeah, homeless people, they suck, crime, drug markets, gotta call them out? Or was it maybe the cash that influenced it? Of course it's the fucking latter. You'd have to be complete rube to believe otherwise, in my opinion. Anyways, just another example of how garbage TYT has become, or maybe always has been. But again, we see that she had, an empathetic and understanding stance to this issue before, but once that cash came in, no, fuck you guys, you're committing the crime, we don't want to see ya, drug markets, bad. Anyways, like the video, subscribe for more content, share, peace, much love, become a Patreon if you like.